Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds, owner of Mint Mobile. You know, it's hard to believe that inflation is still a thing, but boy, it sure is. And that's exactly why Mint Mobile still gives you premium wireless for just $15 a month. Well, it's also because we have that offer printed on, like, 1 million t-shirts, but it's mostly the inflation thing. So give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
New activation and upfront payment for 3-month plan required. Taxes and fees extra. Additional restrictions apply. See mintmobile.com for full terms.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Cognitive Recalibration podcast. As always, I'm your host Shravan. We got Tyrone here sitting opposite me.
Hey mate.
Hello. That wasn't me. But this is me.
So today we're going to be talking about the Christmas special MCU Disney Plus show, Hawkeye. And we're joined by two special guests, two returning guests from our famous Avengers Supercoach episode.
What did I tell you, man? Hawkeye would always come back.
So we're joined by Kireeti.
Hey.
And Bhaskar.
Hi.
Hey, how you going?
Welcome, guys.
Hi.
I remember Kireeti rode me to the finish line like on that one. That was something else.
I love riding you, man.
And that was Hawkeye versus Doctor Strange. So we're returning with Hawkeye.
Remember.
That's right. Yeah.
I started making arguments and he started arguing for me on my team. I was like, what's going on?
Good times.
All right, so we're going to do our usual background, and we'll talk a bit about the comic books with Hawkeye, and then we'll jump into our non-spoiler review. So up till that point in the episode, we'll still be doing non-spoilers in case you haven't seen it yet, and then we'll jump into full spoilers. So we'll go episode by episode and talk about anything that we want. So background-wise, this show is created by Jonathan Igler. I looked at what he's done in the past in terms of TV shows, and he was a writer for Mad Men, that TV show. Recently, he was a producer on the Netflix series Bridgerton.
Oh yeah, great show.
Nice. Wow.
I know it. How do I know it?
Okay, it's that show where it's basically this chick that gets an arranged marriage with the guy, and it's which century? 18th century? 19th century?
What, and she's not brown?
No, this is like 19th century England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except it's like mixed cultures, isn't it? It's like
There is. Yeah. But
So
people went crazy for it.
yeah. It's not meant to be good though.
No, it's like Gossip Girl, except
Set in the 18th century.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gotta watch it then.
So that was a review for Bridgerton, folks.
There you go. So obviously Jeremy Renner is back as Hawkeye, but we've got a whole range of other cast members that have joined just for this series. Namely Hailee Steinfeld, who we'll talk about, and other people. So I won't mention them. Maybe they'll be sort of spoilery, but yeah, Vera Farmiga's in it in a prominent role as well. 6 episodes altogether, so it's a shorter series. How many episodes was Falcon and Winter Soldier? That was 6 as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Loki was 6.
Loki was 6.
Yep. It was just WandaVision.
WandaVision
That was
was
8.
8 or 9. 9,
Yeah,
I think.
Still
yeah.
the worst.
But they had some shorter episodes.
And
which is why.
What if had more?
What if had 12? Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was animated.
And each episode's about 40 minutes to an hour, so it's slightly longer episodes. And budget for this show altogether was 150 million, which is equivalent to like a big budget movie. And then it released on the 24th of November, just finished on the 22nd of December, just before Christmas.
Nice.
So like all good Christmas gifts, it came with a bow.
Fucking Luke. Your whole family's demented now.
Comic book stuff. So when do you think Hawkeye first debuted in the comics?
33.
No, it's not.
It's a bit early. Yeah.
What, are you telling me it's not a classic?
33 is a bit earlier than the classics.
I'm going to go 1950.
Bit later than that. So
Probably.
68.
close. So 1964 was his first appearance in Tales of Suspense, issue number 57. And in terms of his abilities in the comics, so he's a master archer and marksman, which he is in the MCU, expert tactician, acrobat, and hand-to-hand combatant. And he uses a variety of trick arrows, which we certainly see in this show. And we see it more in this show than in the other movies, right?
Yeah. Explains it more in this show.
Yeah. He doesn't.
It's the first time they referred to it as trick arrows. I picked up on that. It's like new vocabulary. Maybe they're calling it back to the comic.
And in the comics, he's also Goliath at one stage. Did you know this?
No.
Yeah, so apparently he was Goliath at one stage, and that when he's Goliath, he's got superhuman strength and durability and size and mass manipulation. So there is already a Goliath in the MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
It's like, that's been confirmed.
Oh, he's in
Ant-Man.
and the Wasp.
Yeah,
So
Ant-Man.
the second one, he refers to the fact that he got really big.
I do not remember
Right.
Lawrence Fishburne and Ant-Man and the Wasp. I got to watch that.
He's
again.
in-
I don't think you
That
remember
movie-
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
The movie's pretty average.
I don't think most people remember that
He's only in
movie.
a couple of scenes. So he used to work with Hank Pym. Cool. And and he's also called the Golden Archer sometimes in the comics. So
He's also
And
the
he's
head
also
of-
the Ronin.
yes,
the comics.
Ronan. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about...
Talk about Hawkeye.
not...
This is the Hawkeye review episode.
We're talking about Goliath.
Okay, so that's what I had for comic books. So let's jump into our
You know Jeremy Renner has his own app?
Nah,
but
it's
decommissioned
discontinued.
now.
It's discontinued,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's total bullshit.
It's decommissioned now, but yeah, he did have an app. But
Was it a nap on just Jeremy Renner?
I think it was like
It was like an app for his content, I think.
no, I think it was like a fan connecting app thing,
it was
so
like
they
a
could
Facebook
like
thing. Yeah.
ask him questions and stuff.
That's
yeah.
why, like, you had to pay for things. And it gave you, like, nothing of value.
That sounds like an OnlyFans.
Massive scam.
That sounds like OnlyFans.
No.
It's like
OnlyFans, they
Sending out
give you a lot.
Jeremy Renner just sending out dick pics.
it's more. You can do more than that.
All right, let's get into our non-spoiler thoughts. So positives and negatives. We'll go around the table. You can start first, Taran.
Me?
Yes.
I don't want to start first.
Okay,
I haven't
Bhaskar,
thought
start
about it.
first.
Yeah.
I'll be delighted to start. First thing that I felt that's a really nice, Christmas time, end of year, family MCU special kind of vibe, which is nice. It's good to have something to kind of. It's like after all the intense stuff we've been through in the year, it's nice to have something just to, settle down and smooth into the new year with, it was good and really really nice insight into all of Hawkeye's kind of deepest storylines and his origin / stories with Nat and all that kind of stuff, and how that kind of eases into and also the whole trauma post Endgame.
Yeah. Or just in general trauma, because he's just a guy.
Yeah, especially his health wise, which we'll go into later as well. That's but yeah, I think it's and also a wonderful introduction to Kate Bishop. So
Yeah.
overall, really good.
Yeah. I guess, should we explain the story high level? It's post-Endgame.
Post Endgame. Kate Bishop is in it. And
Kate Bishop, a famous...
Yeah.
Must be, I presume. But the fact that you guys are saying Kate Bishop, I presume she's a comic character.
Yeah.
That's fairly famous.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know.
So this
I've presumed
comic,
at the end of the series that she is, but...
this story is basically not shot for
Her
shot, but
origin.
it's very much based off, and it's probably the most accurate representation that they've done comic to TV adaptation of my life as a weapon. So that's a comic run that they did, and it's basically that story just in TV form. It's direct.
So it's like post Endgame.
Like not exactly the same, but like they carry over a lot of the elements. Like the tracksuit mafia is in that. Tracksuit mafia is in this. Kate Bishop's in that. Kate Bishop's in this.
I always find tracksuit mafia always a bunch of idiots.
Yes.
Yeah, it's meant to be like
Spider-Man, they're so dumb. And then in this, they're dumb as hell.
Yeah. They're kind of like a comedy mafia. Yeah.
And they're fisks.
which
we
is
say that?
interesting.
Well, in the comics, they are, right? Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
You get,
Kingpin's in the comics, like he controls everything
Yeah.
in terms of
In New York, anyway.
New
he's
York,
like,
yeah.
you might have to get rid of this.
Anyway,
that's
continue
the
with
story. Yeah.
continue with positives and
You go.
negatives. You can go
Some
next.
positives.
I'll go next. I've thought about stuff now.
I'm gonna go
Okay,
next
fine.
now.
You go. Okay.
You chose to go last. So.
Did I? No, I'm going
You're
next.
going last. In fact, we're going to skip you. Are we just doing positives?
We'll just start with positives. Yeah.
I think I agree. I really I always enjoy Christmas in New York. So just like actually being Christmas in New York, but just the whole vibe around it. So I really enjoyed the series. Yeah, I definitely think that you had a proper, deep kind of connection to the character of Hawkeye. And it's, I guess, really important to understand what it's like being a normal person going through whatever they went through. Obviously, the whole of Endgame they start off the movie with the impact that it had on him. And so they don't forget about it. Yeah, really good introduction to Kate Bishop. I thought it was quite well balanced because there's two main characters and I feel like they did enough justice to both characters.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they missed out on one, and it references a storyline that's really good. Just thought overall it was just very wholesome and entertaining. Just good story. I enjoyed it. You're last.
I'm going next. I've got the soundboard. I'm going to stop recording if I don't go next. See, the crowd wants me.
That was a total accident.
Okay. You can go next if you want.
No, you go.
Yeah.
After all of that.
Yeah, I think a lot of what you guys said is right, and they didn't overstretch with the show as well. It is more of a low-key kind of straight-level show, but with it Hawkeye, that's kind of what you want to do. You don't want it to be world-ending or anything like that. So they definitely chose the right kind of story to concentrate on Hawkeye and keep it
Low key.
Yeah. I liked it. Good joke. And they kept the emotion of the whole saga in it as well. But it is Hawkeye and the character's a bit stupid, so they don't shy away from the comedy side of it as well, which is good. And Jeremy Renner does really well. But I think the highlight of the show for me was Hailee Steinfeld, who is really good in this. And I really like her. I liked her in basically everything she's ever done. So yeah, I think it was great casting.
I think she's really good. I actually think this standout's Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner is great in this. Yeah.
I think he's a standout.
I think if I was going to put it one way, it's like Jeremy Renner brings the gravity to the performance.
Yeah.
And Hailee Steinfeld brings like the brevity, the
levity.
lightness, and all,
Yeah,
all the comic kind
Her
of.
comedic timing is great. Yeah.
Gravity and levity. We had a
Yeah.
good thing going there. Yeah.
I agree
He
with
wrecked
that.
it
Yeah.
by not saying it. It's brevity.
It's a brevity. My vocabulary shit.
Gravity and anti-gravity.
Spider-Man.
That's a reference no one's going to understand,
gonna
but
get.
yeah, we're going to
Guy
continue.
who made the joke didn't even understand it.
Anything else from you?
No.
Yeah, so I agree. I think Hailee Steinfeld was really good, and Jeremy Renner was also equally. I think they were equally really good. So I think, like I said, Jeremy Renner brings more of the drama. I think Hailee Steinfeld, she also has like a bit of a complicated backstory as well, but she brings a bit more of the comedy. I liked that they were only 6 episodes and they're all sort of well paced. I can't think of any episodes that were redundant. Like I think all of them were quite necessary. Which
There's
was
no
good.
filler episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the I'll be home for Christmas type backdrop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all, maybe not Bhaskar, but maybe you as well. We all love Christmas stuff, like like Christmas
Yeah.
Christmas
Just because I
content.
mentioned it doesn't mean I hate it.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's definitely good. The festive season and all that. It's like until the plot line comes where I need to be home by Christmas. Until it was introduced, it was like I wasn't actually cheering him on until he said that. It's like, I really do hope he gets home.
Yeah.
like-
And it's not like it's in a Christmas backdrop, but it's not a Christmas show as such. Like stuff's happening and it's Christmas time. So it's,
But you would say if Die Hard's a Christmas movie, this is a Christmas show.
Yeah,
definitely.
if Home Alone 2 was a Christmas movie in the sense of, what he was, where he was and that kind of stuff, I'd say it's got a similar vibe.
And lastly, you mentioned this as well. So it's not trying to be ambitious. There's been other shows that have come out this year from Marvel that have been pretty like cosmic level, like big, tackling sort of big issues in the universe. This was very sort of simple. They kept it very simple, ground level, just dealt with the characters, did something. And yeah, I kind of appreciated that because we've been through a lot's happened this year, which have been like world breaking sort of stuff. So this was just nice to have just a simple story that you can follow. We can jump into negatives. So I did have a couple. I thought, and we sort of mentioned this, you just mentioned it. So tracksuit guys, they are they're like comical. They're like comical villains, but when you find out who they're working for, and like the overarching sort of mafia that resides in New York, you're like, will these guys actually be working for this guy? They seem a little bit too comical, and they just seem like idiots. So that's one thing that, I mean, it's not a big deal, but it was, and they added a bit of comedy to the show, but it was kind of like they probably should have had like actual serious villains as well. The mysteries, there's a couple of mysteries that they tackle in the show. So one is regarding Kate Bishop's mother's fiance. I thought that was like not really a mystery. Like, you knew something was going on with that, and they were like telegraphing something so clearly that it wasn't going to be that, I just thought. And the other mystery was, we haven't even actually mentioned this, but Maya, who's another character.
Also great. Yeah.
Yeah. She was also really good in the show. She has a bit of backstory as well. And there's an episode dedicated to her, and there's this mystery around who her uncle is. And I think most people,
in the show, it wasn't.
I don't think it was a mystery. I don't think they put that intended to be a mystery. I think it was like an Easter egg early on to be like, for the people that knew, they'll be like, "Oh, that's him."
It's probably him.
But
and for the people who didn't know,
that didn't know, they wouldn't care.
It was just like, "Oh, she has an uncle."
Who's it supposed to be?
So it's in that scene in the 4th episode where you don't see anything except for just someone coming up to her, and it's like if you know, you know. It's like, oh yeah, I know that.
It's when she's a kid and
she's done with the wrestling match, and her father comes, says good job, steps aside, then this other man comes and just pinches her cheek.
Oh right,
yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I don't think that was a real mystery. I think the disappointing mystery in the end was there's a mystery surrounding this watch, which gets kind of resolved at the end, and it's just nothing really.
Is it not?
It's something, but it's
It's
also
something that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's
something
not
that
really.
doesn't. Yeah.
And some of the characters who they introduce sort of later in the series, you don't spend enough time with. But it's fair enough. But there's some dramatic moments, especially in the finale, where it would have helped if you spent a bit more time with those characters. But that's all I had in terms of
I
negatives.
feel like Maya's character was good at the start, and then it kind of dripped.
She kind of just disappears for a bit, right? Like,
I feel like it was kind of the writing went off with her.
yeah.
Interesting thing about Maya, she's actually deaf
In real life. Yeah.
and also an
And the character.
paraplegic.
Oh, okay.
Well, not amputee, sorry.
Yeah.
Because in the character has one leg that's...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that actually the comic book character?
No, the comic book character doesn't, but she does in real life. Yeah.
The comic book character is deaf, though.
Yeah. But she is deaf in real life and also has a prosthetic leg. Yeah.
I found the fact that they found a like an age double for her when she was a kid.
That's actually a cousin.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
it looked exactly like her, like her features.
It's her cousin.
So,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that was well done.
Any other negatives?
I think you're right in terms of Maya's character is not as fleshed out as it could have been, but also
She's getting her own
show, so maybe they didn't want to tread too much
is she?
water
Yeah.
Yeah.
before they get to her
I'm
own
not sure
show.
I'll be that interested in that show, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I'll tell you one thing about it, and you'll be like, "I'm on for this." I'll say
don't tell me that.
one thing.
Don't tell me.
We'll tell you in spoilers, but it's a show called Echo, which they've already announced. It's next year. Is it coming out? I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's
so.
next year. Yeah.
I got one other negative. It kind of riffs off the positive, saying that yes, it's great that it's a family film, but that does hold it back. I feel like that they specifically tried to make a series that would stay inside the PG-13 and like really not push the boundaries that much. And like the last episode had a slight rating bump, but it's like, yes, we get what you're trying to aim for, but it kind of holds back key character elements for some of the characters involved. It's great for people like, Hailee Steinfeld, they can develop their character, but for some of the more later characters introduced, it's like we were expecting a bit more gravitas for their performance, and it didn't come through. And it's like we understand why there was something holding it back. And that was the vision of the show.
I think the nature of the Disney owning Marvel situation is that they're only ever going to do PG-13, except for one property, which they said is going to be R-rated. Deadpool. Yeah. So other than that, I think it's all just going to be PG-13.
But they say
Is there anything between PG-13 and R? Like, there's no M category?
Not in America.
Not in
it goes
America,
PG-13 to R.
PG-13's M for us here.
Yes.
M
Yeah.
Okay, so actually what I meant was the G rating.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay,
so
so yeah, the G
a little bit more than
They're swearing in this, weren't they?
Yeah.
like shit.
Like shit and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So that automatically makes it M.
Yeah.
It can't be No, it can't be PG, can it? It
No,
can't be.
this one's M. I'm pretty sure this is M.
Yeah.
All the shows have been M. Yeah.
But I feel like in America, it's going to be PG-13.
Yeah, they don't want to push that R rating because you get that age category that isn't allowed to watch it unless they've got it.
Just proves that America's rating system's dog shit.
Yeah, kind of.
Because you can't go from PG-13 to R. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, just for reference, what was Daredevil rated on Netflix?
R.
That was R? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like for us?
Well, for us, it was MA15+.
everyone-
Yeah, for us it's MA15 plus.
Yeah.
Was it R in America?
Yeah.
Would be R.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that mean a lot of action movies are just R straight up, right?
No.
No. Most of them aren't actually. Most of them
Yeah.
are PG-13.
Name an action movie and I'll tell you if it's PG-13 or R.
Die Hard.
That's R. Yeah.
Shang-Chi, I think, would be.
Shang-Chi's PG-13. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the MCU are PG-13.
Lots of the 80s action movies are R, like all the Arnold stuff, all the Schwarzenegger stuff. Yeah.
Because of the violence and the swearing, I guess,
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nudity.
Yeah.
But I feel like the categorization there, it's like they basically mesh together the PG-13, the MA15 plus into one category.
Into one category. Yeah.
And for us, it's like Shang-Chi will be M15 plus. It's not MA. It's not that violent.
No.
And it's like it'd be M just because there's swords.
Yeah.
There's
There's
hardly
not
any
even that
guns.
much blood. Yeah.
There's no guns.
There's blood at the end. The last move in Shang-Chi
Oh yeah,
is a lot of stuff.
that's the one that got the rating. Yeah.
Cool. So if we don't have anything else spoiler free, we can jump into spoilers. But before we do that, so we'll do our ratings, and then we'll do our rankings compared to the other the other Disney Plus shows
This year. Yeah.
this year. Yeah. So if,
I've got a rating. I'll go first.
okay, go.
I'm going to give it a Merry Christmas. Take that how you will.
Suck my ass. This guy's been on some new shit. This whole episode.
I'll give it a
That's
cognitive.
my official rating. I'm not changing.
I don't even know what that means,
Give
but
it a
okay.
happy Diwali.
I give it a cognitive recalibration. I think it's definitely worth a watch.
I give it a 7 out of 10 reindeers. So it's definitely.
It's a Christmas theme.
You just made reindeers.
Wait, how many reindeers? How many reindeers does Santa have? 10, right?
8.
I don't know.
Someone
think
please.
It's an odd number.
Oh yeah, because Rudolph's
Rudolph's,
yeah. I think it's 7 or 9 then.
Yeah.
7 or 9. Let's assume it's 9. I give it 7 out of 9 reindeer.
I think it's actually 7. 9 seems like too much. Yeah.
I actually just watched the Santa Claus recently, but I can't remember how many reindeer he has.
Anyway, Bhaskar gives it 2 less reindeers
Two
than
less-
the
two
maximum
less than
reindeers.
Maximum. Yeah, that's it.
Percentage
Yeah.
is not going to be consistent. Yeah. I'll be like 5 out of 7. There's only 3. 1 out of 3.
1 out of 3.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. I'll give it like I reckon I'll give it 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon 8 out of 10. All right, ranking.
Ranking.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So this is my favorite one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going Loki first. Oh, sorry, this first.
This is my favorite one. Loki first.
This one, Loki. Are we including What If?
Yes.
Are we?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this
Whoa,
one,
okay.
Loki, What If, One Division, Falcon, and the Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Do you want me to go next?
Yes.
Yeah.
I go Loki first, then WandaVision, then Hawkeye. Hawkeye, What If's sort of equal. I'll put them on sort of equal level, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier.
That's interesting. Okay. So my ranking would be Loki first. That's clear front runner. Second for me would actually be a tie between WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. I put those in the same level. And then What If, and I would I feel like
What the fuck?
For me, this is not as strong as the others in terms of the narrative. So I'm going to put it below What If.
Interesting. I would say Hawkeye number 1. Because I feel like everything they tried to do in this, they nailed fairly well.
I
The
agree.
important parts they nailed well. And
There's no filler episodes like in Loki. There's definitely filler episodes in Loki.
I just don't think.
Oh my god, the king of filler episodes is fucking the piece of shit that was WandaVision.
Yeah.
I actually think WandaVision was the worst show this year. I would say Hawkeye first, then Loki and What If together. I think What If is a bit of a cheat because like it's animation. You can do a lot of things with animation. And so
What If had some episodes that weren't that good, but it had some episodes that were really good. So it's hard to rate it. It's a very polarizing.
The Killmonger episode was boring as fuck.
That is actually a good point. I'm actually going to adjust my ratings. I'm going to put Hawkeye above What If. Just because I realized that when I was watching What If, I actually wasn't motivated to watch the episodes. I had
It was just like there, so you'd watch it.
I had to sit down and actually watch them through until I got to the last few. And
some of them were really good, and you're like, this is great. And then some of them you're like, this didn't hit the mark this week.
Whereas Hawkeye, I actually cared about the story in certain elements. So I watched it like, I want to know what happens next. So yeah, no, I'll amend my rating. That goes second last.
So I'll go Hawkeye, Loki, then maybe What If. But What If is cheating, so I'll get rid of What If. And then Falcon Winter Soldier, and then
WandaVision. Yeah, I think everyone has sort of different opinion. I think
for me, narratively, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was by far the weakest.
Yeah.
And WandaVision close second to that. Yeah.
I think none of them are. Obviously, we all have different rankings, so none of them are like home runs. Like no one.
I think personally for me, I think Hawkeye's the closest they've got to a home run yet. Nice. But obviously, you two don't think that. But
yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's like they did what they had to do. There's not much you can do with Hawkeye, and I feel like they introduced the character. They spoke about important things with the character that were introduced throughout the movies and focused on deep kind of character things as well. And it was very interesting to watch. And it's bloody New York and Christmas. Is that what else you fucking asked for?
Like, there's not many things that they...
WandaVision was a fucking shit. I'm like, in hindsight, I'm like, oh my God, what was that show? I thought it was just a waste of time.
I think it was smart that they put that up first because it was such a what the fuck experience. Like the majority of what WandaVision was that, like, you know, going on Reddit, going on like forums and seeing people making theories.
Mephisto,
like even before Mephisto, like hex. What did the hexagon mean?
Yeah,
does that mean 666? Is that like Satan? Is that this? It's literally like so many theories came out of it because there was nothing to go off. Everyone was starving for like information. That made it really enjoyable. The experience.
I thought it was just taking the piss. I thought the whole show was just taking the piss. Like, there's things in that show that still just don't make sense. Like, there's things, I don't know. Yeah. And like, I don't know, you make some real impactful thing about Endgame essentially ending, what's his name? Vision. And then you just bring him back in a TV show and say, oh no, guess what? You can make him. You can make him. Yeah. He's white. He's white. There's two different ones. You can make him whatever. It's like, you need some, you're losing the gravity of like certain events that happened prior, and so I'm like,
although credit to WandaVision, I think it's the first record of having a multiversal character appear in the form of Quicksilver.
Although it wasn't really,
like, technically,
I think the strength of WandaVision, which
I think they're taking the piss, essentially.
The thing that puts it above the other shows in terms of none of the other shows did it is the kind of psychological torment that Wanda's going through and her kind of rehabilitation from that.
I don't think it was. I think they could have done a much better job doing that, to be honest. I feel like that I think everyone got it. I think everyone quickly they understood what was going on. I don't think they even nailed that, to be honest. I reckon they could have done much better.
Yeah, I agree that it's not the best show. Yeah.
I actually think that the psychological torture that they spoke about with Winter Soldier was much better in Falcon and Winter Soldier because of like the constant regret and the issues he was having throughout. And the motivation as to why his character was so against like this whole super serum stuff and why he was against the other character. I thought that was far more appealing. I think also they could have just like done more things in that show to just make it a little bit better as well. And
Falcon and the Winter Soldier definitely felt flat for me.
It dampened a lot.
Especially at the last episode that I was just like, this is real flat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that show would have been better as a movie because there was like filler in that. And the movie we just watched a couple months ago, Eternals, that is probably better as a TV show because there's so many characters in Eternals that would have worked better as a TV show.
Possibly. Yeah.
But I don't dislike any of these shows. I like all of them. It's just that,
rankings. Yeah.
I don't think I would rewatch any of them either. I think the one I'd most likely go to a rewatch is this one.
I might watch Loki again just because of the concepts that they address in Loki are pretty.
Yeah,
I still not even sure if I still reckon there are some flaws, or maybe I just don't. That the law hasn't been explained yet.
Yeah.
But I still reckon there are some things that they're talking about in that show that are so beyond, like maybe even approachable. Like in real life, you can't even get your head around like some of the concepts that they're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool. That's why it's also cool.
But we'll have to see how entangled these shows are with the movies. Because we saw a trailer for Doctor Strange 2. They literally just pass over WandaVision in one line. She's like, well, I'm not here to talk about Westview, and that was it. That's all they're gonna. That's probably all they're gonna address in terms
It's
of
also
WandaVision.
very
I think-
self-containing, sort of.
Yeah, I think they're all very self-containing. So you can.
Although Loki, it seems like that
Loki's
kind
not,
of.
it can't be.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
That becomes self-contained. That's such bullshit.
Well,
Yeah.
it technically is self-contained in the level it's at. Like, it's at such a significant, like, completely multiversal level. It's like, well, if you're only worried about what's happening in Hell's Kitchen, that doesn't affect you. It could, but it's just like, that's there. That level.
I'm really hoping that Doctor Strange's movie touches upon.
I think it does because
would have
Loki
to.
is in it, so I think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which Loki?
we don't
the
know, but
question.
Tom Hiddleston is in it. So yeah. But obviously, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. At the end of Endgame, you know that Falcon gets the shield. So if you hadn't watched that series, in the next movie he's going to be Captain America. So it doesn't really matter. Like, you could have just skipped that whole thing, and I don't think it makes a difference.
It's just character development.
Just a bit of
Wait, say that again. What did you say?
So at the end of Endgame, he gets the shield,
Yeah.
right? So you think that he's going to be the next Captain America at the end of Endgame already.
Yeah.
So if you skip the whole show, he's Captain America anyway at the end of that show.
Sure.
Like you could technically write off the TV series and then have
Just go straight to the next movie, and it wouldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. But it's character. I think it's, with all of these, it's just character development.
Yeah.
You could skip this Hawkeye show and then go to the next movie and he's just got an apprentice called Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's character development. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Loki is something.
Partners.
Yeah.
Partners,
Yeah. The
yeah.
partners. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually maybe one of the reasons why I'm a little bit more nuanced in the ranking is because I actually have no idea as to Hawkeye's backstory, like as comic book wise.
Neither.
So it's like my
I don't know
first
anything
time.
about any comics.
Literally just Avengers, and it's just like I don't know his actual. Like, you know, growing up, you hear about you hear about Thor's backstory. You might hear about Tony Stark's backstory, but you don't know. I never knew what Hawkeye went through or what his story was after Avengers. So it's a new.
I think
experience.
it's what they've done in the movies is pretty accurate to what Hawkeye is. He's essentially a shield agent that is in over his head and kind of gets him with these superheroes.
What was the name of the comic?
My life is a weapon.
Yeah, it's basically that. Yeah. All right, we can jump into spoilers because I think we've sort of covered everything we can, non-spoiler. So if you haven't seen Hawkeye and you care about spoilers, go watch it. Come back to this point. We'll listen to it.
I'll just say a small non-spoiler thing and then we can talk about that in spoilers.
Okay.
But there's a duo in this that riff off each other real well. And
Duo?
Yeah, there's a duo. And when they finally make that team up that they're going to do, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. I know.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that very shortly. So
I don't even know what you're talking about.
you'll find out. So go watch the series, come back and listen to our spoilers. So you're talking about Yelena
and Kate Bishop.
Bishop.
Yeah. So everyone on the internet's absolutely frothing this partnership. Yeah, they're loving it. Yeah.
I reckon
So
they
it's
had a
essentially
better-
the new Black Widow and the new
New
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They
I
had
guess so.
Really good buddy cop vibes. Like one's obviously the more cool, collected one. One's like the hot-headed kind of rash, like just do whatever comes to mind thing.
And they both have their own style of humor. Like they're both
Yeah.
actually funny characters, but in their own way.
I enjoyed their dynamic, and I think they're probably pushing towards a kind of young Avengers team.
Yeah, we've been
That
talking
might
about this
be.
for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously these two would be in it. Although Yelena's not really
Yeah,
young.
yeah.
yeah.
I don't think Yelena would be in the young Avengers team, but she would be like
She is young.
she'll be
because she
part
got
of it.
Blipped. So she's
she got
actually
blipped.
Yeah.
Younger than him.
So they do say how old Kate Bishop's 22 in this. I wouldn't say Yelena's that much older than that, maybe like 25 or something.
I feel like when they make, if they ever do make Young Avengers, they won't call it Young Avengers. They'll just call it the New Avengers, and it'll just seem like a fresh-faced group of newcomers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So who else do you think would be?
in the team.
Yeah.
So in the new Ant-Man and Wasp, Ant-Man movie,
Yeah.
there's going to be Stature,
Yeah.
and I think she'll definitely be in it. Possibly Spider-Man. I think he would be a good addition, but I don't know if they're going to do that.
He'd be more like the leader of them, right? Because he's got a lot of
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he might be too experienced if they're trying to go like this ragtag group of like this ragtag group that doesn't know that much.
Yeah.
Spider-Man might be like,
But they could use him to guide
Yeah.
them. Like he could be like the mentor role.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Could.
Yeah.
I mean, are we allowed to talk No Way Home spoilers here?
Yeah, because it's so spoilers for everything Marvel from now on.
Everything Marvel. All right, you've been warned. So in the final act of No Way Home, he was actually the leader. He was like saying, like, he was bragging about being a part of a team, but the other two were like, all right, you call the shots.
Yeah.
So he actually took time to lead them and say, all right, 2, 3, go now. So it shows he is starting to get that leadership quality into him.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't be too bad.
He definitely could be in it.
Yeah.
I would say he's a maybe though. I think
that he would definitely be in it, but there's all this Sony
stuff.
So they're actually doing a new Avengers.
I think that's
Young
what
Avengers.
they're building up to.
Yeah.
It hasn't been confirmed. Like nothing on the.
But the characters,
they haven't even done like the Avengers haven't even gone past phase 3 yet. It hasn't been like after Endgame. We haven't even got Avengers again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be there for a while.
But when we do get an Avengers, it won't.
It won't be them.
It won't be them.
No,
It'll be-
I think they'll do an Avengers movie, but they'll also do a Young Avengers movie, smaller storyline where they're fighting a not as great threat. The Avengers movie will be a bigger threat where they're fighting someone huge.
Yeah.
But this Young Avengers movie will be like a smaller threat.
Well, and we've discussed this before, but there's these ground level stuff that's happening. So Hawkeye, Falcon and Winter Soldier, they're more like Earth level stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's all this cosmic stuff, which is low-key.
So the cosmic stuff will probably be dealt with by the actual Avengers.
Yeah.
And the ground level stuff will be dealt with maybe by a Young Avengers team.
Yes.
Oh man, that'd be sick if you have the Avengers like going through multiverses and stuff. That would be mental. That'd be crazy.
That'd be amazing.
You got a glimpse of it with Endgame. If you start thinking of like time theory and everything, and you consider it a multiverse, then but it'll be very cool. I don't know if it'll happen though, but hopefully it does.
Yeah. And
Who else?
Ms. Marvel?
Yeah, so Miss Marvel will 100% be in it. She's probably going to be the youngest member, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe
is
Wiccan.
What's the deal with her character? Like, who is she supposed to be? And
So she's a Pakistani American girl.
Yes.
can you
Yeah.
explain anything else?
She's in the comics.
That's a superpower.
She doesn't have powers or anything. She's
Just found her when they waged that war, and that was it.
in the comics, she's an Inhuman, which I don't know if they'll carry that
probably
over
won't
into the
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's got like Mr. Fantastic kind of powers.
She can.
What does that mean?
She's like elastic. She can stretch.
Elastigirl.
Basically, Elastigirl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
I kind of forgot how she acquires her powers, but yeah, she idolized
Captain Marvel.
So she calls herself Miss Marvel.
Yeah, in the comic, she gets her powers through the what are they called? The carbon crystals or whatever.
Yeah, something crystals. The ones they have on the moon, right?
Yeah, those crystals. Yeah.
Yeah.
What, she eats it?
Nah, it's like got powder and shit.
If you like inhale
snorts
it,
it?
Yeah, she snorts it. So she gets coke. She gets coke, and then
So there's a show with her coming next year.
And I think Wiccan and his brother might be in it. I forget his name.
Yeah, Wanda's kids.
Yeah.
Kids, yeah.
And I think they'll age them up.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they're aged up.
Just to see them alive again.
I think that would probably be the Young Avengers team. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. By the way, you get to play as Kamala Khan in the Avengers game. Like she's like the
You
central
do.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
She's like one of the main characters, isn't she?
You start off.
pretty much.
Everything's from her narrative, so it's like it's pretty cool. So it's a good lineup.
So we can jump into some detailed spoilers. Like we don't have to go like beat by beat, just anything that comes up. So first episode's more about Kate Bishop, right? And then Hawkeye just comes at the end. Well, he's in the city and he ends up seeing her in a Ronin suit and then he confronts her. So they set up this mystery with her mother's fiance. What's his name? Jack?
Jack Duquesne.
Jack Duquesne.
Yeah, Jack.
Armand Duquesne, his uncle, gets killed in the first episode. Everyone suspects it's
At an auction for...
illegal goods.
Yeah.
Yeah. NFTs.
So it turns out that Jack... So they obviously throughout this show, they kind of... They're telegraphing that he's bad.
And he is a comic character
Okay.
called the Swordsman.
All right.
Yeah.
Because he's... Okay, yeah.
Because he has
He's not
a sword.
he's not a big comic character. He's just a guy. Yep.
So he turns out to not be bad. So it's actually her mother the whole time. What's her name? Eleanor? Yeah.
Eleanor. Yeah. Who people are theorizing could be Madame Mask, who is in the comic My Life as a Weapon.
So I don't think there was much in the first episode.
No.
Yeah.
Armand dies and then, yeah.
And he sends his kids off in the next episode, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, in that very first episode, the one part which I kind of really liked is that the opening 5 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Where
Yeah.
you see Kate as a young girl and like everything happened. And it's like literally they replay the shot from the Avengers where Hawkeye's taking down the Chitauri, flies down to the building. And it's like that's like you get the sense of the production value.
People
Like,
have
they've gone down.
people online have kind of looked at the scene and then looked at that, and it lines up pretty well. Lines up really well, actually.
It's
Yeah.
actually a really good shot. And even just the whole CGI effects, it's like, wow, that's for the first 5 minutes, it kind of gives everyone the feeling, this is serious. This is going to be a good dive into the universe, and they're going to do it well.
And in that sequence, apart from just setting all of that up and setting up that Hawkeye is her like favorite Avenger and all of that, they have a short sequence where you hear the parents speaking. So firstly, you figure out that they're in some sort of financial trouble in the first scene, and also that she's much closer to her father than she is to her mother as well.
Yeah.
That's already established in the first scene. Yeah, so that was really well done, actually, that initial
I think it also
sequence.
shows how badass Hawkeye is for a guy that doesn't have any powers.
Yeah.
The shit that he was doing in the first Avengers,
Yeah.
let alone the rest, but the first Avengers was fucking unreal.
Yeah.
And in the last episode, Kate says it. It's like seeing you fighting aliens and doing this shit all above your pay grade made me feel like I can do that as well.
Yeah.
Which is why you're a good. This whole story is that Hawkeye feels like he's not worthy and he's a shit bloke essentially. And it's Kate trying to convince him. It's like, no, you're good. You're my role model essentially. He's like, shouldn't be anyone's role model. But by the end of it, he realizes that he actually does have value essentially.
It took me back to right before Avengers was released. And I remember when the trailers were coming out, everyone was like, had this thing of, okay, I get there's Tony Stark, Iron Man, there's Thor, there's the Hulk. I get that.
America.
And it's Captain America. And I get there's this big hit is, what the fuck are Natasha and what like Black Widow and Hawkeye going to do when you have these four literal gods like just going around and smashing the place? What could these people possibly do? And after the film came out, we were like, okay, these guys are pretty badass. Like they were holding their own. They took out crazy amounts of enemies, and it's just like the skill was they had to be buffed in the movie, and that made them actually look much more respectable. And it brought back that feeling. That first scene was just like, wow, okay, that's the glory of these guys who don't have superpowers.
It's also that scene in the first Avengers where, oh man, I'm pulling in Bhaskar where I call Scarlett Johansson Scarlet Witch. But Black Widow is like when Captain America, when Steve Rogers is like about to jump out the plane, she's like, I don't think you understand. These guys are literally like gods. And he's like, I'm pretty sure that's not. There's only one God, ma'am, and I'm pretty sure
It
that's
doesn't
not
look
what,
like that.
Yeah, and I like, and like that's also because you haven't been properly. You hadn't an origins movie to Captain America, which not only was very boring and shit, but also his powers they didn't even probably show his powers yet.
Yeah.
So you thought he was just jumping into this fight with nothing. That's essentially what Hawkeye and Natasha end up being. Yeah. But the things that they're able to pull off during these movies and obviously having them paired up in Endgame, it's good. Also the fact that of all the things that Hawkeye did, he beats himself up about essentially a period where he was just being really harsh in the punishments he dealt rather than being he wasn't a straight up, like he wasn't a serial killer. He was just handing out really swift justice, maybe over the top justice to people who are already doing bad things, right? That's at least the implication that you got from Endgame. And I think it was really good that this series was talking about how people are bloody complex. The impact that Hawkeye's clearly had on the world is that he's essentially created another superhero, which is going to be Kate Bishop. And he might have made some mistakes as well, but we haven't yet seen another superhero, being made, leave Spider-Man alone. But even that, like, I think this is the first time where one of the Avengers or one of the superheroes that we know of in this MCU has actually inspired another. Fully inspired.
Yeah, right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's the one without any powers. That's pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Inspiring.
Yeah.
It is. It gives inspiration. This show does. Yeah, definitely.
I thought his entrance in the first episode was badass as well.
What was the entrance?
It's like right at the end when
when he pulls off the mask.
he enters the fight. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
now we're in business. And it's like, you're like, all right, sick. This is going to be good fun.
Yeah, no, it was a good episode, and they actually released 2 episodes at once, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Yeah. So
Those two.
in the next episode, they go back to her apartment, and the dog.
The dog is also in My Life as a Weapon. Yeah.
Yes.
So
It has to be.
Yeah.
Because why the fuck will they have a one-eyed dog in this TV show? It wasn't
very
in the
cute dog with one eye called Lucky.
Or Pizza Dog as well.
It's called Lucky, but they're thinking of names, and they, yeah. He likes to eat pizza.
Yes.
Are dogs allowed to eat pizza?
Not if they have onions. So this dog's going to die soon. Must just be pepperoni or margarita or something.
Yeah.
So in the second one, they confront the mafia. So the tracksuit mafia figure out where they are, and there's a bit of a action sequence in the apartment. And then what happens at the end of this one? They just they get captured, don't they? Is it at the end of this one
Yeah,
when
I
they get
think so.
captured? Yeah, and they introduce Echo right at the end.
Yeah, right at the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that her name?
Yes.
Her name's Echo.
So her name is Maya.
Maya something. But
Maya-
her actual name is
Maya
Maya.
Gomez.
Yes. Let's
Maya
go with
just-
that.
Let's go with that.
Maya Lopez.
But her comic character name is Echo.
Superhero name.
Superhero name is Echo.
Echo. And also the name of the show. It is actually
So
Maya
what's her
Lopez.
power?
She
Echolocation?
so
she's deaf,
she's
so-
deaf.
So
That's
Her main power is she can replicate anything she sees. So she,
Like Taskmaster.
she's the
Yeah.
Peter Petrelli
I know who that is.
from Heroes.
Oh yeah, okay,
Wait,
yeah.
what,
So,
what do you mean replicate anything she can
so if she
She's
sees,
a copycat.
if she sees someone do kung fu, then she'll be able to do kung fu.
Oh,
Like
and
the
they
moves that
kind of
do.
established that when she's a kid as well, because she
Yeah.
watches the guy take down. She's watching 2 other kids fight.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
and
That was a reference apparently.
and he does the exact move that she ends up doing on him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah,
Is it a permanent thing, or is it just during that situation that she can copy?
I think it's a permanent thing. Like she learns the
That's pretty
she learns the
OP.
task. Yeah,
What happens if it? I presume it's not if it involves a superpower.
no, she can't. She can't
sees
learn to
Thor's
pick up
holding up the
cars.
hammer and going, oh, it's like, all right, well, I might as well do that as well.
It's pretty close to like Ditto's move, like Mimic. You
Yeah,
pretty much
I mean-
just like, all right,
Well,
you're going to do
that's
self-destruct.
what Peter
I'll do it.
Petrelli from Heroes was really well written because he was a character that was always the underdog, but then he has the most amazing power ever. But he didn't discover it until like the very end, and becomes this like the savior of heroes, and that's why he's like everyone's favorite character. But but his power is not just physical copycat. He copies powers, and that's why it's like such a dope show.
Yeah.
It does not age well though, that show. Like, do not watch it. I recently watched it, and like in my head it was like the best show ever. Recently watched it, I was like, oh my god, this is so shit. This is so bad. But it was so good back in the day. Like,
Interesting. Then I wonder if they ever do bring over the X-Men. I wonder what happened if she looked at Rogue and what would happen. Because Rogue absorbs powers by contact.
Nah, but she can't do superpowers, so she can
Whereas
only
Rogue
she can
can,
just
yeah.
she's an echo. She's an echo. So
actually,
whatever
don't
she
know.
sees,
What's
she
Rogue's
can
powers? I don't know this.
She steals, like she
She absorbs
temporarily
she can absorb
acquires
other people's powers.
Yeah,
by touch.
via touching them. So
And
that's
then
why she can't
gets
touch
rid
anyone.
of their powers?
No,
No, when she does absorb their power, they do lose it for a little
Temporarily,
bit. Like,
yeah.
temporarily, they
Yeah.
And then she can use those powers as well?
yes,
Yes. Yeah.
but that's why she can't touch anyone
pretty
because
cool power.
that's why she always wears gloves.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Didn't know that, Beneco.
Yeah, and her name is Maya Lopez, by the way.
Oh, you got it. Nice, man.
Lopez.
It was my Lopez.
Okay, so episode 3, that's when Maya interrogates Barton and Bishop, and they escape in the car. So this has a good action sequence. So it's the first time you see some of
The
the
one-shot car.
yeah, and it's the first time you see some of the trick arrows. And the first time I've only seen this episode once, but I rewinded it to watch this action sequence because I didn't exactly understand what was going on with the massive arrow that turns up. So it's a pin particle on the
Did
arrow.
you realize that?
Not the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? I don't even
So-
remember that scene.
So Kate Bishop shoots up a normal arrow
Yeah.
into the air, and then it goes into the air. It's coming down, and then Hawkeye shoots the pin particle arrow,
And it expands
hits
it.
the normal arrow and expands it to.
And that's when the
huge size.
massive arrow comes
So
down.
it
and-
turns into like an artillery strike.
Yeah.
Literally.
But then what does the massive arrow actually do?
It blocks the car.
yeah. Well, I think it hits the back or
It
something.
Yeah.
literally hits the back of the car and then disintegrates completely. I thought it was going to like pierce the bridge.
So you're
and just,
telling
like,
me-
be in the middle of the road, but it's like no.
Are you telling me this guy had pin particles?
Yeah.
when they were running out of Pym particles in Endgame?
No,
Oh, no,
this
afterwards,
is
yeah.
post Endgame.
Yeah.
So
So he's stolen a lot of things.
Hank Pym's back alive. So he can. The problem in Endgame was Hank Pym was dead. Well, not dead. He was disappeared. So no one knew how to make Pym particles. But
Yeah.
he's back now. So
So he's got Hawkeye's got Pym tech and he's got Stark tech.
he's got
as well.
Stark tech as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense because like people trust Hawkeye. You know, like, there's no kind of like you'd be like, if I was to give someone Pym particles, I'll give it to this guy because he's an underdog.
And he's not going to be able to. He's not going to know how to use it in a malicious sense either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until you discover who he was. He's Ronin, he's destroying everyone.
Except if we need to feed owls, live humans. So
Yeah. Oh, do you know that owl? I didn't know. I'll forget about this if I don't mention it now.
owl
Do you know
scene?
the owl in the last thing? That is a real owl that was stuck in Rockefeller Center's Christmas tree. This is in real life. There was an owl stuck in it and they had to go rescue it.
So that was a reference to that.
Yeah, it was a reference to that.
Not in this show.
The owl is a reference to the owl in real life.
In real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was wondering, like,
Yeah.
okay,
Such a weird
there's
thing.
like he ends up in the tree. Like we're going to the end, but yeah, he ends up in the tree. He sees an owl. I'm like, okay, that's cute. And then the owl comes back and he takes it.
Yeah.
Takes
yeah.
the
Man with the shrunken tracksuit. And it's like, that's a horrific death. That is like not PG-13.
Yeah.
That is,
They got eaten by an owl, those guys.
Guys, I just got a notification saying celebrate Boxing Day with Uber Eats with 26% off pickup orders.
oh, they can get fucked.
Nah, they wouldn't let you pick it up anyway.
Yeah.
They have rejected every order we gave them in the like past 2 hours, man.
So before recording this episode, we had a bit of a fiasco with Uber Eats. We were trying to get food, and then they kept
This has
declining
happened
us.
multiple times.
You guys aren't trying to get a sponsorship with them, are you?
Well, not now.
Not too late for that.
Yeah,
like-
so that's a
yeah.
real owl.
It's a real owl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool. I messaged you later saying the owl is the best character. In
After you
Hawkeye.
messaged me that, I saw it online somewhere.
Yeah.
Another really cool point earlier in this episode. I don't know if it's early in this episode or late in last episode. Clint always calls his wife
Yes.
and discusses like the op beforehand, and it's really awesome to see them talk. Like she knows what's going on, and they talk in this kind of subtle doublespeak where she kind of advises or what he should do, and he actually takes her advice. He's like, "Oh, you know, these guys have got my stuff, and I'm going to try and get them back." And she's like, "Oh, you're doing the old seek and find." What did she say? Like
Catch and release.
catch and release,
Yeah.
and stuff. And it's like, you know, they have code names for all of their ops, and it's just like
Yeah.
that's awesome that they have such clear.
That's a
Transparency.
reference. The catch and release is a reference to the first Avengers movie where Black Widow does a catch and release with those. It's her introduction scene. She's doing
With the Russian mob?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like they're interrogating her, and she's actually interrogating them.
Yeah.
Instead, yeah.
And it's also in Avengers. What's the second one?
Avengers the second one. Yeah,
The second Avengers.
that's the official name.
Avengers the second one.
Age of Ultron, yeah.
Age of Ultron. When they go back to his farmhouse, and then Tony Stark's like, she's an agent. Like,
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
actually is an agent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, does she accuse her of being an agent?
No, it's because like they don't know much about
It's
Hawkeye,
like comedy
right?
about
Oh,
the
yeah,
fact that
yeah.
this
Yeah.
guy actually has a normal life.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, this is bullshit. She's an agent.
Yeah.
It's funny. He's like, he was.
But I guess it also makes sense as to why she's so accepting of his life. She clearly understands what's going on all the time, and they
Yeah.
clearly
Yeah.
have.
She's not some ignorant like housewife just living in that fantasy of, oh, it's okay, he's got a day job and he'll come back, and no, she knows everything.
Yeah, and he calls her throughout the show actually. And there's also one point where they speak in
German.
German, like
German?
fluent German.
It's German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it because her kids were there?
Because she's actually a Nazi.
Yeah. I think
Hail-
she's just
Hail
trying
Hydra.
to. She's just trying to
She's the
disguise
Fourth
the
Reich.
combo. She's the fourth
It's
Reich.
when she talks about the watch, right?
Yeah. So the
Yeah,
watch.
yeah, yeah. She goes German when we talk about the watch.
She's so.
she's
in the
Agent
end, you find
19.
out she's Agent 19
I
in
had to
Shield.
look that up. I didn't
Which is-
understand what that meant.
Yeah, which is it. Big revelation is Agents of Shield isn't canon because Agent 19 is Mockingbird, and there was a Mockingbird in Agents of Shield, so
Yeah.
it can't be canon.
Was she really young in that?
It's a different actress,
But
and she's young. Yeah,
couldn't Linda Cardellini just be her? Agent
Probably
19
not because
later on?
No.
because Phil Coulson's in that show.
because first off, that happens concurrently with Age of Ultron, and Mockingbird doesn't have kids, and they never talk to each other. So yeah,
Yeah.
It could possibly still be canon in terms of
field goals.
Linda Cardellini was Mockingbird, and then she retires, and then they get another Mockingbird.
Like
Yeah, it could be.
And then,
could
she's
be.
like the Mockingbird 2 or something. Yeah, essentially, she's Mockingbird.
At the end of the third episode, they break into the Bishop house and they are confronted by Jack. Well, actually, Hawkeye is. And that's where it cuts. And then in the next episode, they end up speaking to Eleanor and Jack. And Eleanor basically tells Hawkeye not to put her daughter in danger, and he assures her, and then he leaves. And then, is this the episode where he goes to the LARPing thing, or was that the previous episode?
Nah, it's a previous episode.
Yeah.
The first laughing one's actually in the second episode.
Yeah.
When he goes
okay.
to
Yeah.
get the Ronin suit.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then Kate goes there now, I think.
Yeah, Kate goes to LARPers afterwards.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was one element of the story that completely lost me. He says, I have to retrieve my arrows. And I'm like, when did he lose them? Did he lose them in the apartment when the fire
It
came?
must have been in the apartment.
Yeah. I think so.
Yep.
Because at that point, it's like, it's never mentioned that, oh, someone took my arrows, someone took my suit. It was only the suit that was taken.
Yeah.
And
I think
his
it's in
arrows
the-
weren't referenced at
yeah,
all. And I'm
it's
like,
in
why is she
the-
going to the LARPA guys to get the arrows? It just completely blew my mind.
He must have left it in the apartment, and then when they came to clear out the apartment, they took them.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The LARPers are pretty funny.
Well, I didn't.
Interesting group of people.
It's funny that they showed them in like they're overly committed to their role, and it's just like that was hilarious.
I just thought in the end when it was fine, but like they come out dressed again and they do exactly the same thing that they were doing before, but somehow it works because they're dressed.
Yeah, what was that meant to be like? Oh, now people are paying attention to them. Like
Yeah.
they're not just mixed built to the crowd.
Yeah.
If they were like hitting people with swords and telling them like,
Yeah,
get in
that-
line,
well,
all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just beheading everyone that doesn't follow their rules, including women and children.
Pain is the best teacher.
So in episode 4, I think that's when Yelena is introduced towards the end.
At the
She's
fight.
first introduced when they go to Maya's apartment, and
Yes.
then Maya's fighting Kate Bishop, and
Yes.
Yelena's fighting Hawkeye.
And that episode ends with Yelena escaping. Well, she leaves. And then,
And then Hawkeye's like, I don't want to teach you anymore.
yeah,
Because
go away.
go away.
Yeah.
Because there's now a Black Widow on this.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
series.
Yeah.
How does he know that it's a Black Widow? Is it from the bracelets?
Bracelets.
so.
Yeah.
And she does
She
has
does
like
the move,
the
doesn't
red
she?
Thing. No, she like freezes one of them with these red things.
Oh, yeah, from a bracelet.
the
Yeah.
bracelets.
Yeah.
I think it's all
Yeah.
from that. Yeah.
I think she does the move as well, doesn't she?
She
Where
does the move
yeah.
on Hawkeye, I think.
She does it on
Yeah.
someone, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the jujitsu move.
The one where you like put their legs around the head and
Maya.
like flip
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
On Maya. Yeah, I think, well, Maya would be super confused at the moment because she's like,
What the fuck's going on?
Yeah. She is, right? By the end, she is.
Yeah, I think she is.
Yeah.
She just bails because she's like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try that move
Technically-
the first chance I get. Just like,
Let me have a look at that move
let's
first.
go practice it.
I'm going to go jump off this building and do a Spider-Man Spider-Verse.
Yeah, and then I think episode 5 is when is it at the end of it's at the end of episode 5 when you find out that Eleanor's been a bit dodgy. She's
Yep. So episode 5 is where Yelena and Kate
Rocks
Bishop
up
have
to
a
Kate
big
Bishop's
they
apartment.
have a big combo with each
that
other.
conversation.
is
Yeah.
it the episode that starts off like with her
With
trying
Yelena.
In the apartment.
trying to
Yeah.
undo the Black Widow serum on her friend?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it
Oh,
starts
that
with
was intense.
Yelena.
That was
Yep.
intense.
And then she goes into the washroom and
gets
she comes and then she comes back and 5 years, but the same lady's still living in that
oh,
house.
she blips and de-blips. That's the
Yeah.
first time we see through someone's perspective what it's like
To be
go out
blipped
and
and
come
then
back in their time.
Immediately. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
such a mind fuck. It's just like 5 years goes by.
Because in WandaVision they did
the-
coming back, but not
It's
not getting blipped.
cool when you see her washing her hand and then she comes back and the wall color is like
It's all
changing.
different. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They also
So
repainted the
mental.
house.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the lady that they end up like confronting.
She wasn't under the black.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
wasn't.
She was just an asshole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so clearly from.
She's
but
just-
the thing is, Yelena goes under a wing because this chick's a gun for hire. The person.
Yeah.
So she's
that's
just
what she
killing
got money.
people that hire her to, and obviously that's what Yelena's doing now as well because she gets the contract to kill Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, yeah.
So she's a gun for hire at the moment, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of get, I don't know if this is implied, that she's been hunting for Clint anyway.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's like a double whammy. She's hunting for him because
she looked for a contract that was specifically aimed at Hawkeye.
I think at the end of Black Widow, that chick, Elaine
Christine.
from the New Adventures of Old Christine, Steinfeld.
Yes.
Yep. She gives her the contract, doesn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was her appearance.
Post-credit scene. Yeah.
Post-credit scene. Oh, yeah.
Wait, what?
Post credits, Black Widow.
Yeah.
I can't remember seeing that.
What was the name? What's the comic book name of her character? The Seinfeld.
What is she supposed to be?
She's
The lady from
Valentina Rossi.
Madam Hydra.
Valentina Rossi.
Madam Hydra.
Motorbike.
Her name is Valentina. She's got a long
Something,
name.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so she's the one who...
De Fontaine
that makes
or
sense.
something.
I don't understand. She keeps rocking up in all these scenes, and I don't understand what the hell she is.
She's Madam Hydra.
What does that mean?
I think
She rides motorbikes fast.
I think the best... I think she's a shit stirrer, essentially. She just stirs shit to make, like, incidents happen. Oh, yeah, basically. Just making
But
shit
that's where she gets the contract from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why, she turned up in this show. But then
But she wants to kill him anyway.
she wants to kill him anyway because she thinks he's responsible for her sister's death. Yeah, and they have a conversation. So her and Kate Bishop have a conversation.
Apparently, she really did eat that mac and cheese.
Like in the shot.
In the shot, she ate that. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of mac and cheese.
Have you had mac and cheese with sriracha?
No, but I want to try it now. Yeah.
The Yelena mix.
Yeah.
Let's get some. 26% off Uber Eats.
Let's do it. Yeah, and then at the end of this one, does Kate come back to Hawkeye or no? Not yet.
Yeah, this is at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
It's a revelation that
She comes back and then she finds that Eleanor has been doing deals with Kingpin.
what happens is Hawkeye goes to threaten Maya. Because he dresses up as Ronin, goes to threaten Maya. He's like, "Leave me the fuck alone." And then he's about to die, and then Kate Bishop saves him.
And she gets an Uber.
She does. No, it's not an Uber actually.
It's a lift?
It's a Lyft, I
Yeah.
think.
It's a
Yeah.
Lyft is bigger than Uber, isn't it?
In America,
In some
it is.
cities?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you find out that Kingpin, so it's Kingpin, that's the first reveal. Second is that it's Vincent.
Why do they call him Kingpin?
So that's his villain name, you could say. Like,
Why? What does it mean?
well, isn't it also just another...
I guess it's just like he's the king. Like he's the last
A
pin.
reference to bowling at all?
No, because Kingpin's also used in like it's used in common parlance to reference like mob bosses.
Yeah.
It's Kingpin.
Is it?
Yeah.
And he is the mob boss.
He's the kingpin.
Yeah. So it's Vincent D'Onofrio, and this episode came out the day before No Way Home came out. And in No Way Home, obviously, we're doing full spoilers here, Daredevil is in No Way Home.
Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox. So in a way, those Netflix shows are kind of canon or not.
I'm not up
at
to
least
date with Daredevil, but what happens to Fisk after season 1?
Season
He goes
1,
to jail.
He goes to jail. Season
And then he
2,
breaks out.
You could tell in jail he's got connections.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then at the end of season 2, he comes out.
Breaks out. Yeah.
And then season 3, which is after Defenders. Even during Defenders, I think we see him in Defenders, don't we?
No.
We don't see him in Defenders at all.
No.
Okay, in season 3 of Daredevil, he's out. Like,
He's doing his stuff again.
he's doing stuff again. And he's like, is worse than before, but something needs to be put in place to keep him under control. So, not to spoil season 3 of Daredevil, you haven't seen it. Like, Matt Murdock, Daredevil finds a way to keep him under control. In a way.
So
leverage. He has leverage.
He's playing the same character. I don't know if it's the same universe, and I don't think it's the same universe
So they probably just brought back the actors, but it's not the same.
because in Daredevil, Kingpin is not this strong. Kingpin's not strong enough that he can get hit by a car and then he just gets up again, or like the explosion happens and he just gets up again.
He gets shot by an arrow and he's
pretty
fine.
strong though in Daredevil, isn't he?
Okay, so there's one reference scene in the prison when Frank Castle and him go at it. The thing with Kingpin is he has I reckon he has greater than average strength, and someone getting hit by a car is not necessarily fair.
But he also rips off a door. He rips off the car door.
Yeah,
I think he's strong. I think he's stronger in this than he was in Daredevil.
There's a lot of like, this is what I was talking about when they made a character seem a little bit more like they downplayed the character than they should have. They made him more physically intimidating, but completely stripped him of his like actual, menacing factor, you could say.
Yeah.
Because there were people like,
But saying that, he only had
Yeah, he's not
like
in it
2
enough.
minutes of screen time.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Even with that short scene, people who haven't seen Daredevil and watch this, they're like, oh, I totally get why people found Fisk really good villain, because he's intimidating as hell when he's speaking to Eleanor. I'm like, dude, watch the fucking TV show, because he's so much better.
But I don't think they're going to make that. I think they're going to make it high level canon, like as in some parts of that story did happen, but I don't think every single part of that story is going to be canon, because
right. So you're
like
like
weird
a
shit,
different multiverse kind of thing.
Yeah, I think he's like a variant. Yeah. Because some weird shit happens in Defenders and like all that stuff that I don't think they want to go through that in the MCU.
That's interesting. I never thought about it that way. I just thought maybe he got knocked down a peg or two after season 3 of Daredevil. Now he's working on like real low level crime, like Tracksuit Gang. That's why he's there.
Yeah.
That's why he's there. But
The theory is that he got blipped after in Endgame, and then when he came back, everyone's taken his position, and he's trying to work his way up now.
that's a good theory.
Yeah.
That's a good theory. We don't actually see what happens to him post Endgame. So yeah, obviously.
Also, I didn't know anything about Fisk, right? Until I watched Daredevil season 1. Fisk was they don't emphasize his physical powers as much, right? And then into the Spider-Verse, he is like menacing, right? He straight up punches and kills Spider-Man.
Almost basically superhuman. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, holy shit. And he's like, he's crazy in that. And then also in Spider-Man, he's also bloody strong as well, but you rope him up straight away at the start.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that Fisk, the whole time when I thought of Fisk, I thought of the Daredevil Fisk, which is like really smart mob boss, but not someone who also can like fight for themselves.
Yeah, I think because he's in this universe now with Spider-Man and kind of all these other heroes that are superpowered, if you don't have him
You need to
be
up him a bit.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or you need to make him an absolute genius, like in the way that he does things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what they did to Lex Luthor, but it didn't make sense in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
Where he somehow
Where he's
just
a genius, but
orchestrates-
it doesn't make
somehow
sense.
orchestrates like the craziest fight ever, but you don't know how he's done it. It's like, oh yeah, sure. You somehow convinced this guy to fight that guy. I don't know how this has happened.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. That movie is
What you said is so true.
It's so fucking stupid, that movie. I watched a reaction to that movie, and at the end they're like, who the fuck is this guy? And they're just pointing to Lex Luthor, and I'm like, that's true. Who the fuck was that guy? Where did he come from? And how did he do this? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
Yeah.
How did we end up? All right.
But anyway, Kingpin's in this.
Kingpin's in this. So what happens at the end of episode 5 is that Hawkeye tells Maya that her boss, being Kingpin, actually ordered her father's death. Which is right. Is that right?
Yelena sends her a text.
No. He's talking about before that. He doesn't say directly like
says
that.
Yeah,
the big man.
but he was involved.
Yeah, he said that the reason I was there that night was someone tipped me off and someone wanted me to kill those people.
Yeah.
And that someone worked.
Kill who?
Worked for your boss.
Kill Maya's dad. Yeah.
But that's when he directly says that the person who tipped me directly worked with your boss.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And then Maya kind of realizes that her boyfriend is probably this person. I think it's is it her boyfriend?
I didn't
think
get a
it's
romantic vibe.
No.
Yeah, they are. They're
I
together.
thought I got a romantic vibe.
Yeah.
I thought they were just okay.
They're together.
Yeah.
No, I did not get any sort of vibe that they were romantically involved.
I thought they were just.
I thought they kissed at one point.
It's because they're both ugly.
Did they kiss it? They're both ugly.
No, not that. It's just that there was no. They were definitely close, right? He was signing. She was. I thought, are they
No, they're
siblings?
together.
Are
They're
they
together.
like,
Are they siblings?
there was no intimacy between them.
I didn't think.
Anyway, she realizes it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you get Bishop gets a text from Yelena with Kingpin. So going into the finale. So firstly, the first scene you get introduced to Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio, and then
After he's trained all the Velociraptors. It's the only other
I
movie.
forgot that he was in that movie.
Chris Pratt trains the Velociraptors. He wants to weaponize them.
Yeah,
After he fails to train them.
he's not in the second one, is he?
He dies.
He dies.
How does he die?
They destroy him.
The Indominus Rex kills him.
Oh, okay.
He's like, I'm on your side, and it kills him.
Okay. I don't remember that.
He talks
movie.
about this.
Yeah.
He talks to this dinosaur like if he says he's on his side, the dinosaur's not going to kill him.
Yeah.
The dinosaur doesn't know English.
I love you, beta.
There's another actor I forgot who was in a major film. I didn't realize he was in Jurassic World.
Well, when I saw him in Jurassic World, I was like, holy fuck, this is the guy that was Kingpin. What the fuck?
Yeah.
They
He's got-
kind of
That's when
wasted
I
him
really
in that.
appreciated like how good the makeup and everything was in Kingpin.
Yeah.
I mean, in Daredevil, sorry.
All right, so they're set up for the climax. So there's a party or something that Eleanor has every year. So they attend that, and they know that. So Eleanor's going to be sort of under attack now as well.
Yeah, so Kingpin, Eleanor wants out of the business with Kingpin, and Kingpin's like, "No, I'm going to fucking kill you."
Yeah, and it also makes sense why, because in that very first scene, we know that they're in financial trouble, and then you flash forward to the present, and they're like they're pretty
lucrative.
wealthy.
Yeah,
So something's obviously gone on, and then so Hawkeye and Kate team up, and they actually say that they're partners in this. Hawkeye says that they're partners in this episode for the first time, actually, because she's always like, yeah, let's be partners. Like, she's the one that's enthusiastic, but this time he's the one that actually says it. Okay, and then there's a big action sequence at the Rockefeller, in the ice rig, right?
Yeah.
The Rockefeller Center, which was good, and that's where the owl comes in. What
It looks
happens?
much smaller. Don't you think the set they had made it look much smaller than the actual?
I've never been there, so I have no.
Yeah, I've actually
frame
never
of
been to
reference.
this.
What a big place.
I've only been
Yeah.
there virtually from the Spider-Man game.
And
Talking about the
it's
game,
great.
the amount of goons that came felt like it was like a Spider-Man 4, like
Oh, yeah.
Spawn,
Yeah.
like the wave,
When you're
wave
doing the
1, wave
fist
2, wave
challenges
3.
it
and
definitely
stuff.
could have
Yeah.
been like a game.
Yeah.
It actually felt like there were that many goons. It was just
And it would have been shit if it was just that and they were just shooting arrows. But because they add trick arrows, it makes it interesting. Yeah.
But also, it's definitely tracksuit gang because they're dumb as fuck. All they do is just follow each other to the same stairs. Like, yeah, let's get them, boys.
Yeah.
And this is just this part's just trick arrow fest.
Trick arrows.
Trick arrows everywhere.
Also, are there never ever? Why aren't there any female gangsters?
Maya.
Nah, but like just in the gang, it's always just guys. Surely there are some women that need some money that are getting pushed into this sort of
I
life.
think it's a trope. It's like you always show the low-level goons to be dumb guys,
Dumb
so you don't
guys.
sympathize with them. They get beat, they get lose an arm. So, oh yeah, it's funny.
Get eaten by an owl. Who cares?
I find it funny if women got eaten.
I think it's the same reason they don't have like children as gang members. Same reason. You'd be like, what the hell? Like, why are you shooting an arrow towards a child?
That's true. It would make it really morally ambiguous, and it'll be really cool.
So meanwhile, Yelena's also in search of Hawkeye, so she's trying to get him, and then she comes to a realization while they're fighting that he,
I wasn't fully kind of convinced at that realization, but I'm like, it had to get there. So I'm like, fair enough.
Oh, and Kate and her have a pretty cool fight in between.
Yeah, where they're just talking.
Yeah. And they're in the elevator, and she's just trying to press all the buttons, and they're like,
There's this funny part where they're in the elevator and she's stopping her, and then at one part, Kate Bishop just slaps her, and she's like, "What was that?"
Yelena has absolutely no reaction, just like, just slap me. And Kate's also like, she's just like, I'm sorry. Immediately just steps down. That's why I appreciate the fact that they actually took two people who are both socially kind of awkward and put them together.
And you could tell that Yelena could just end her at any point if she really wanted to, but she
didn't,
doesn't want to. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, where they're pitted against each other, but they don't actually dislike each other.
And they're also, it was interesting because a lot of people have said this, and they kind of share a similar view to you, that Hailee Steinfeld was the best part of this show, and Yelena was the best part of the Black Widow movie. So, like, in the actual Black Widow movie and the Hawkeye show, the main characters weren't the highlight. It was their like
But
sidekicks.
it's the new ones. It's the new Hawkeye and the new Black Widow. That it's good for the future, I guess.
Yeah.
I think Florence Pugh needs to work on her accent though.
I like the accent.
I think it used to be
It's
good.
cheesy.
It used to be good, and then it kind of started deteriorating. And in this, so it was good in the Black Widow movie, but in this one, I feel like she forgot how to do it.
I think it's a bit cheesy,
It's now
but
turned
it's-
into this semi-Borat vibe.
It kind of is. It's definitely not an authentic
When in doubt,
accent.
put on Kazakh accent.
Yeah, probably would be Kazakhstan. It's halfway point between Russia and US. So,
Bro, do you know your geography? Kazakhstan is definitely not the halfway point.
Not
Russia,
even close.
the US,
Not even close to the halfway
the
point.
Atlantic Ocean, bro.
it's probably going to be somewhere in the ocean, actually.
Oh my god.
would be closer to like the UK or something. Would be closer than
No, there's an ocean that splits them.
Which direction are you going?
The Atlantic, right?
The other way, yeah.
Yeah,
I was going the other way.
No, so it's not the Atlantic, it's the Pacific.
Pacific, yeah. It'd be Pacific the other way.
Pacific.
Yeah.
I was going the other way.
Pacific.
No, that's what they call the mid-Atlantic accent in the US. It's halfway British, halfway US, so it ends up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't mind it. It's definitely not authentic. It's not. It's cheesy as hell. But
That was the only thing that was pissing me off. I'm like, oh God, get rid of this accent. You need to pull a Scarlet Witch and just suddenly
just
reset it.
Start talking
just-
American. Her accent was worse though. Scarlet Witch's
Yeah,
accent
that
was
was bad.
terrible. Yeah,
That was bad.
Yeah.
I think that's it's hard for actors to kind of meld two into one, I guess.
All right, and what happens at the end of this? So they have a fight. Yelena realizes, so they're all good now. And then Eleanor, so it was Eleanor all along, so she gets
Goes to
arrested.
jail. Yeah,
Kate has a fight with Kingpin,
yeah,
which was
pretty brutal fight. Yeah.
brutal. Yeah.
I thought it
was
looked
just,
like
like,
at any
chucking her
point
around.
he could just kill her.
Yeah, it was just like chucking her around like she's a
Yeah,
dog.
she was way in over her head, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way you could win this. Like, someone's going to come in and save you, but she
did
manages it. Yeah.
Yeah, she did it. Oh, yeah, and there's a sequence we didn't talk about, but they have like a movie night, Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, just at home, and there's a bit of character development there, and he teaches her to do that flicking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which people can actually do. And you go online, some guys are fucking good at it. Like, they have a cup on top of a tower and they flick it and they
I've
can
seen
hit the
that.
cup off it. Yeah.
that's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Talking about that kind of buddy development scene, that one right before where his son, Clint's son, calls him,
Yes, yeah,
and his hearing aid's busted, so he
that's a
can't
good
hear.
scene.
yeah.
That was so emotionally tough to watch, and there were so many people on, like, I was reading some of the forums. A lot of people was like, my dad's hearing impaired, and he just bawled watching that scene because it's like it really hit him hard, and it's like he can't understand what his son's saying, but Kate really steps up and writes down and translate. And yeah, just the way he goes about that scene, like Jeremy Renner's performance is amazing.
Also, so I think we need to address this, but what's happened to his hearing? Is this after the explosion in Endgame?
It doesn't say
just-
anything in particular.
I think it's just
Yeah.
across his career.
Yeah.
So it's just slowly
when
deteriorated.
he says, is it Kate Bishop? She asks him what happened to your hearing, and then it goes through
There's
this
like a
montage
short-
of
yeah.
explosions that he's been in.
It's because he's had such an explosive career.
Yeah.
And also, and he's one of the mortals, so he probably is more susceptible to wear
Yeah,
and
that's
tear.
right. Yeah.
But I actually found that quite jarring. I thought, shit, maybe did I forget something that happened in Endgame? Like, was it something that...
No, I think they just introduced it in this show.
Did he lose an eardrum with the blip? I don't know. Like, it was just... So it was kind of a bit of a, oh crap, what happened? But they did address it in an episode.
And it makes sense. So firstly, he's got that, and then after each action sequence, he seemed like putting ice on himself, and he's actually injured and stuff. So he's just a normal guy. He's just a guy.
It's got me thinking, do you think that they shot some scenes of it, like Avengers or any of the other movies where he's involved, where he actually couldn't hear what everyone else was saying? He just kind of mumbled some, random stuff to people's responses, like when they weren't on his left side?
I'm not sure if he had them. He had this defect in the Avengers movies themselves. Like maybe it's a more recent
I don't know.
development.
You could theorize anything, I guess. Yeah.
I guess. That was a really interesting dynamic to his character.
Yeah.
And I think it does. This show goes quite a long way to show a lot of differently abled people and how they kind of show that through. They end up being superheroes or really well trained.
That's sort of the end. So they go. Hawkeye
Christmas.
takes her back to his home, and they have Christmas. He gets home in time for Christmas, and they end the show with he says they're like discussing names, right? And he's like, "Oh, actually, I have a good idea," and it just flashes Hawkeye, right?
Yeah. So she's like, oh, what about Lady Hawk or something like that?
Yeah.
He's like, actually, I have a good idea. And then,
Yeah,
What's it going to be?
Hawkeye.
So I think he's just going to retire.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
She's Hawkeye.
yeah,
They're both just Hawkeye. Yeah.
yeah. And then
It's good how it ends. The art. What do you call it?
the
art
target.
thing?
Yeah,
The target.
Yeah.
That kind of started all of the Endgame.
Endgame. Yeah. That's the one they were shooting.
And all the artwork. So it ends with the target, and the
Post-credit,
target turns
yeah.
into an actual target.
Yeah.
All that artwork's directly ripped from the comic, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's good. I really like the artwork at the end of each episode.
If you like the artwork, you should read the comic. Generally, it's a good comic. It's
don't-
just
I don't
a
want
show.
to-
It's just a show.
Oh, is it?
That's all it is.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm too scared. I really like how I'm discovering new things with each movie and TV show. So I've always been hesitant to read the comics because I just want to discover things.
This is
in
a-
the MCU.
Nice.
My Life as a Weapon is a fully enclosed comic that doesn't involve anything else.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if,
It's a very cool name, I must say. My Life as a Weapon. Very, very cool.
but if you do want to read what's gonna like where they maybe took Fisk from, I would recommend reading Spider-Man Family Business, which is where they actually directly referenced his Hawaiian motif T-shirt.
Yeah, that's directly pulled from that comic.
White
Yeah.
and red. Really cool comic. A nice short one as well.
And that in that comic as well is the one where Maya, it's got that shot of
point blank shoots him. It's not known if she actually shoots him because the last panel she kind of points the gun downwards. So
yeah. Look, and in this it's the same, isn't it? It's like
Did she really shoot him?
she didn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
Or she shot him and he's
fine.
like it bounced off his boobs or something.
dude, after everything he survived in Daredevil,
Fuck.
he's not dead. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not dead.
And they wouldn't introduce him just to kill him. So
No.
Yeah,
it's-
he's not Sean Bean.
in the comics, I think Maya shoots him and it goes into his eye, and then he goes through like a rehabilitation phase and he comes back.
Yeah, so that also happens. So I think Kingpin will almost definitely be back. So there's an Echo show, so she's definitely going to be back. Will Hawkeye being Clint Barton, be back?
The training's not done yet. I don't think Kate Bishop is like full Kate Bishop yet. So I think Hawkeye has to come back to train her up a little bit more.
I'm not familiar with the actual comic storyline. Do they actually end up being like small town like vigilantes?
Kate Bishop, she just takes over the Hawkeye mantle, so she does Hawkeye stuff.
Yeah, because I know like all right, like Daredevil takes care of Hell's Kitchen, Spider-Man locally around here in Manhattan. Does Hawkeye do they have like a?
It's
like
a New York.
jurisdiction?
He's a New York based.
Is Daredevil just Hell's Kitchen?
Mostly.
That doesn't really make sense.
It's more. No, it's more than
It's-
that. It's more than that. But
Because Hell's Kitchen is very small.
so Daredevil is like
For a
more
superhero.
underworld, like things
Yeah,
like
okay.
sub-level, not visibly like street crime. Spider-Man deals with that stuff. Right?
It's funny because there's like 15, more than 15. There's too many
So many
superheroes in
in
New
Manhattan.
York.
in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's like a crazy amount.
Well, there's Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Hawkeye, Daredevil,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ms. Marvel.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah,
Which
it's a different.
Are they Marvel?
Yeah. Nah,
They're not, but the serum that made them what they are is the same serum that turned Matt Murdock into Daredevil.
Yeah.
That's canon.
it's
wait,
canon
what?
in the Ninja Turtles universe.
Yeah.
Which is
You know that van that was carrying radioactive chemicals?
How does Matt Murdock even become Daredevil?
He got hit by a truck carrying radioactive chemicals.
When do they show this?
In episode 1.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, episode 1.
Oh man, I can't
Season one.
remember. I need to watch.
It's when
that
he's a
show
kid,
again.
right?
The show is fucking sick.
It's not very clear, like, it's not very clear how that stuff makes him more thing. It's just toxic chemicals, but I think it's hinted at that there's some bioweapon factory working on really classified shit.
Oh, bro, it's
That's
all
good.
about the Wuhan lab theory.
No, that would have killed him.
All right, so I think that's the end. There is a post-credit scene which we don't need to spend too much time talking about. We'll spend less time than it actually went for. So it's just a musical number from the Rogers musical, which is
Fuck.
a thing in this,
I thought
this
they were
universe
actually
now.
going to do something at the end.
People thought they missed a beat with that where they could have shown any number of characters in the audience just like comment on how bad it was or something. So it could have been later in the audience saying that was shit or something like that.
Yeah.
People were saying it could have been like Anthony Mackie or Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
Just
Paul
whoever.
Rudd.
Yeah. Or it could have been
I thought
Kate
they should
Bishop.
have got. They
Yeah.
should have got like Steve Rogers actually be what's
Like
his-
older.
No. What's the actor's name?
Chris Evans.
They should have got Chris Evans to just make an appearance. That would have been funny.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
just having because he's a musical guy. He loves musicals. They should
Yeah,
have
he
just
does.
got him in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could have had any number
They
of
could have
characters
had anyone,
in
yeah.
the
Well,
audience afterwards.
so they have Ant-Man in that scene,
Yeah.
and he's not actually there in Avengers.
People are
Yeah.
theorizing that
Also, who's that
someone's-
Asian kid?
That's Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
What?
cast in the musical.
Yeah.
Is that Ant-Man?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I was trying
People
to
are
figure out who the hell that
theorizing
was.
that in Endgame, do you know how Ant-Man goes back in time
Yeah,
to
so
that
maybe
point?
they saw him.
Someone saw him and they
Yeah.
thought he was there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I feel like it was just like, okay, they had to make a mini production just for this show. They might as well show the hard work that all the
Yeah,
actors
they
put
just-
into it.
But they could have just added one extra scene at the end, just of one of the characters.
Yeah,
it would have been like
ending it with
no
somebody.
time to shoot. No time to shoot it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was it. There was no other end credit scene, so nothing else hinting at anything else that's coming up. So that was it.
So what is the plan? What are the things coming up next? So Doctor Strange in the
We're going to talk about this in the next episode. What's coming up? But yeah, Doctor Strange. There's Miss Marvel. There's Moon Knight. There's
what? You're saying all these things. I don't know what the fuck.
So there's a lot. Miss Marvel is next year.
Origin story.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's Moon Knight, which is also Origin.
Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Do they mean moonlight?
No, Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
It's what M. Night Shyamalan, how he actually got his name. He was a big comic book fan and he named himself after that.
And there's Secret Invasion. There's a lot.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
They're all TV shows?
Yeah, those are all TV shows.
Oh, TV shows.
Yeah, in terms of movies, there's obviously Doctor Strange, Thor.
Oh, do I have the
Black
patience to
Panther.
watch fucking Miss Marvel? It's a TV show.
You bloody well better.
Yeah.
South Asian. We got to support.
Yeah, we got it.
No, it's just Pakistan.
Representation.
This is going to end up in the podcast.
Yeah. I'm going to do a very light edit of this, so everything's
He's going to be heavy handed.
everything's
Remove all of
staying.
Kireeti's.
All right, cool. So
I love Pakistan.
Wow, great.
East Pakistan, West Pakistan.
okay, so I think we'll end it here. So hope you all enjoyed this episode. Thanks, Bhaskar and Kireeti for joining us.
No worries, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Good to be on.
So our next episode will actually be the most anticipated one, and then we'll be watching Matrix at some stage. So
What's the next episode?
The most anticipated for 2022.
I think it's going to be the most anticipated episode. I was like,
yeah, it's also that. It's also that. Yeah. So yeah,
I need to do my Christmas movie review.
you can. We did
Home Alone
that.
6. All right. So this is how it starts.
Just going to add an extra hour to this episode.
And it won't even be about that movie. It'll be about some other movie.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll end it here, and hope you're all staying safe. We'll see you in the
How
next
do we
one.
catch up with you on the pipelines, bro?
Yeah, we'll do. How do people?
Cock@rehal.h.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Cognitive Recalibration Podcast, gmail.com and
gmail.com.
all other platforms.
Yeah, and give us a rating on iTunes and Spotify, which makes us more discoverable.
No
Okay.
worries, man. We'll do.
All right. See you guys. See you next time.
See you guys. Have a safe holiday.